Namaste, kings and queens. Yeah, I'm here to enlighten y'all on the 42 principles of Ma'at. I had explained it in another video. Well, I didn't really explain it. However, I did go into detail about how I, do my rituals in the morning. And my ritual includes stating the 42 principles or ideals of Ma'at. So, who is Ma'at and what is the first principle? We're going to go over the first principle today. And I want to enlighten y'all on Ma'at. Ma'at is a Egyptian goddess. And I told you I like to go back to the roots. For those who know me, I go all the way back to the roots. So we're going to look up the word virtue, because virtue is the first principle or ideal of Ma'at. And it states, I honor virtue. So I state that every morning, I honor virtue. Let's look into what virtue is. But first, let me explain who Ma'at was. So like I said, an Egyptian goddess. Ma'at was designed to avert chaos, which is Isfet, and maintain truth. Truth means Ma'at. Ma'at is truth. That's the name. The symbol for truth, justice, balance, and order is the goddess Ma'at. Now, the reason why I chose Ma'at, I gravitate towards truth because I am a Libra, and it correlates because Libras stand for justice and truth and order and harmony and love, ruled by Venus, love, just like Taurus. But anyhow, I was like, wow, hold on. I see the relationship right here between a Libra and Ma'at, truth. Because I'm all about that justice and truth. So I was like, wow, let me go ahead and study on who Ma'at was exactly. So I studied or whatever, and I saw the 42 principles, and I was like, wow, I'm going to incorporate this into my, daily routine, my regimen or whatnot, in order to, begin my day, my blissful beginnings, and, go on like that, because I stay in the upful, position all day, regardless of the obstacles and the fiery darts that the adversary has to come towards me. I always think about these 42 principles that I stated initially when I got up in the morning, as well as my affirmations, stating who I am, what I'm about, my purpose, and all that stuff. So the first principle, like I was saying, is I honor virtue. Now, there's a couple versions of this actual 42 principles and ideals of Ma'at. There's a version that's like more on a not negative side, but I don't like to state what I have not done. It says, or what I will not do. It say I will not commit sin, or I will not I have not committed any kind of iniquity or something like that. But affirmations stating like in a more positive, uplifting way. So I like to state I honor virtue. That's why I chose the one that said pretty much has like positive affirmations. So virtue, for those who don't know what virtue is, it's behavior showing high moral standards. Goodness is righteousness, is ethical, is uprightness. So pretty much it's like being honest and good, pretty much, for the most part. It's like being a good person, and good it varies from person to person, but there is like a universal standard of good. We all know what good is versus evil. When you see it, you can see it. You know what I'm saying? You can experience it. You can feel it. So anyhow, the word virtue, it comes from the Latin root vir, vir, which is for man. But so honestly, when I looked it up, virtue initially meant like manliness or valor or whatnot. However, it changed over time. And it means excellence and good, and like I was just saying, goodness, stuff like that, honorable. So the Latin alphabet is derived from Greeks, because we want to go all the way back. All the way back. Take it back. Hold on. Where Latin come from? That's the first thing I asked. I say, okay, where's the Latin language come from? And it comes from the Greeks. And the Greeks, they conquered Egypt. And the Egyptians had to, do away with everything that they knew and whatever. So pretty much the Greeks stole from the Egyptians. So when Egypt was conquered, and then it was pretty much like the initial language that I know to be, exist, period, was in Kemet, ancient Kemet, which means the land of the black people or black land. And that's where the hieroglyphs come from. And we know that the pyramids were built there. That's the center of the earth. That's the, Africa. That's the core. That's where everything began. Even to go back in biblical terminology, for those who, know the Bible or whatnot, it all started in the Middle East or, Africa. And I recall in school that we had Pangea, which was when the earth was more like the tectonic plates that are separating the earth. You know how the earth, is spaced apart or whatnot now. Initially, it wasn't. It was one whole mass. But even before then, we all know the biggest continent that is on the map is really Africa or ancient Kemet. So let's go ahead and what I have here. So those who want to know about the Strong's Concordance, who are like really into the word, the Holy Bible, whatever, it says praise. That's what virtue means. 703, and it says see the Greeks. It's a Greek origin, and like I said, the Greeks get their language from the Egyptians, ancient Kemet, the land of the black people. So that goes to the roots because I believe in melanin. Well, not believe, I don't believe in anything, but I know what melanin is, and it is the pigment that pretty much like the hue that gives us color. Now, not stating that Caucasians don't have melanin, they just have a lesser potency of melanin in their vessel, so I'm not trying to say anything negative towards any race or anything like that, because at the end of the day, we're all soul spirits, and we all embody a vessel, and race don't have nothing to do with it, but it does, because there's one race that thinks they're more dominant than the other. There's a lot of races that think they're more dominant, but you already know. I don't want to go into that, but that's going to be another video. But right now, let's go into I honor virtue. So, what is virtue? Like we just said, it was like goodness and, nobleness and uprightness, and these are all synonyms, but it means behaving in the high moral standards. So that's just pretty much, somebody who's righteous and don't commit sin. Okay, so in the Bible, in the Holy Bible, Proverbs 12:4, it states, "A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is a rottenness in his bones." And then another scripture that I know, I didn't know that Proverbs 12:4 until I just had looked it up. But I knew Proverbs 31:10, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For a price is far above rubies." I used to state that all the time because I'm like, I'm a virtuous woman, I am, But anyhow, let's get to the core of what I want to talk about, what virtue is. So the 7 contrary virtues, which are specific opposites of the 7 deadly sins. Now, I know y'all know what the 7 deadly sins are. If you don't, you're about to get enlightened right now. So humility is against pride, being humble, against somebody being so arrogant and prideful and full of their ego. So that right there is the contrary, that's virtues when it comes to, the 7 virtues. And then number 2, kindness against envy. Y'all already know what envy is, and y'all know what it is to be kind. Number 3, abstinence against gluttony, withstanding from something. And then gluttony meaning overindulging or eating too much, or overindulging, period, being like kind of greedy a little bit. Number 4, chastity against lust. Chaste, being chaste or chaste. Somebody who is pretty much like a virgin, so to speak, but not really a virgin. I have to look it up. Let's look it up. I won't be just, talking out my behind. Let's look it up real quick. Let's look it up. I wasn't prepared when it came to this. I should have looked up every word, but I didn't. A state of practicing or refraining from extramarital sexual intercourse. Celibacy, okay, which is another word of self-denial, self-restraint, and virginity. So abstinence and virginity is the same thing. Yeah, but not really. There's different levels to it. Anyhow, number 5, patience against anger. Y'all know. Liberality, which means giving freely, against greed. And last but not least, diligence, which is like careful, persistent work versus slothfulness. So those, I just stated the 7 deadly sins, and they were the second that I said. And the first thing I said was the contrary to 7 virtues. Now these 7 virtues I think is derived from biblical beginnings. However, I'm not really sure, but just to point out what virtue was, and I hope y'all got enlightened. And I can't I don't want to say can't wait. I just anticipate this series that I'm going to do with y'all about this. It's going to be 42 videos because it's 42 ideals or principles of Ma'at. I'm going to go further into who Ma'at was and things like that. I want to show y'all a picture though. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of Ma'at. It's on my computer screen. So here's a picture of Ma'at. She has the wings. Let's see. Yeah. So she has the wings, and pretty much it looks like hieroglyphs that she's etched into. You see that she's a melanated being, and she has feathers like an ostrich. And yeah, there's various pictures of her, but that's the picture that I wanted to show y'all. And you can look it up on your own. I'll put the spelling, which is M-A-A-T. And oh yeah, I wanted to let y'all know that the commandments, the 10 commandments, are derived from the 42 principles of Ma'at. Like I was saying, I go back to the root, to the basis, the foundation. And like I was saying, ancient Kemet, the language from the Nedu Meter, is the original language of the people of Kemet, which is the center of the earth. You know, they was enslaved, and everything changed over, and because the Greeks conquered them and whatnot. So, you know, there's a lot of mixing, mingling. I'm getting down to the root of it and what I enjoy, but for the most part, I'm gonna stick with ancient Kemet and learning about the melanated people. I'm learning about the root, the truth, Ma'at. Y'all be blissful. Much love to y'all. Peace. Thank y'all. Love, light, and liberty and positivity. And continue to enlighten yourself. Peace.